So if it's a choice between 3 square meals a day plus dessert versus packaged ramen disguised as a meal, I'm gonna pick the first option. Hey guys, awkjellybean here. So today's topic is about living with your parents. Is it luxury or is it torture? And of course, there's two major standpoints on this question. There is people who have the best relationship with their parents and think that living at home is wonderful, like they don't see anything wrong with it. It's just fantastic. Then you got the other end of the spectrum that's like they would rather tear out their brainstem and go to the nearest four-way intersection and skip rope with it than keep living where they do now. And of course, their reasoning would be that they have a traumatic and hurtful relationship with their parents. But instead of focusing on those two extreme standpoints, we're gonna look in the middle and really just analyze the pros and cons of living with your parents. And I'm focusing on the 20s because I live with my parents. I'm 22 years old. And if I could live with them as long as possible until I'm ready, or not ready to get on my feet, but like until I'm able to get on my feet, then I would do that. Like, that's just where I am. But anyways, let's get started. So as we know, one of the major factors for why people may not want to live with their parents is because they risk being shamed by others. But before I get into that, I'm going to show you guys a TikTok video because I really agree with this girl's standpoint.
No one is ever going to make me feel bad about living with my parents. Do you get it? Like, even if I'm like 23, if I want to live with my parents, I'm going to live with my parents. Society's not going to peer pressure me in moving out because I don't see the point of it. If you have the luxury, the privilege to stay at home and live with your parents, take that. Take that, bro. Take that.
So what I like that she said in this video was that she's not going to be peer pressured by society, which is the main reason why people are being shamed for living with their parents. They're seen as not grown and not self-sufficient and sometimes perceived as lazy instead of going out there and struggling like other people. And I just feel like struggling, if you don't have to do that, then don't. Like, I feel like people glorify struggling, and I'm not one of those people. And then also leaving home like as soon as you can, like when you're 18 years old, is also seen as like a flex. And if you have the means to do that, by all means, go ahead and do it. Like, no one's stopping you. But if you're moving out just to prove that you're an adult, then you're still a child, because adults don't try to prove anything to anybody. Like, they could care less what other people are thinking. Like, the people that you're trying to prove that you're so grown to, they're not living your life. So get yourself together. And also, going along with the risk of being shamed, like, it's really mostly an American thing. There are tons of countries and cultures that would rather their children live with them as long as they can until, you know, they can get off their feet. And in my culture, on my dad's side from Ghana, like, in their culture, you're not leaving, as a woman, you're not leaving the house unless you're married, or if you do have a job, like, you can pay for your own place. But most women are either staying at their husband's house or staying at their father's house. Like, there's no moving out just because you want to move out. Like, you have to be self-sustaining in some sort of way, or relying on your husband to do it. Like, that's the whole point of moving out, so that you don't have to return back to your parents. Like, you have to be set. So a reason why you would want to stay with your parents is the basic essentials of life are being met. So of course, your food's free, your shelter's free, your water's free, and then extra stuff like Wi-Fi and like maybe free rides to the grocery store and stuff, like just basic essentials of life. And this reason is totally valid because the cost of living is insane and inhumane and high. Like, even with me just being at college, even though I was, you know, still living on campus, just going to Walmart was just terrible because you're getting just a few items of food and the food isn't that expensive, but when you start buying soap and stuff, it's might as well just give up like your entire life savings. Like, everything adds up. And when you're at home, like, you don't really have to worry about the food aspect. Maybe like your soap and stuff, yeah, but like if your parents are still paying for everything, like, that's one less thing you have to worry about. You could be saving up for your own place, saving up for these, you know, essentials of life, your food, your water, and stuff like that. And speaking of food, like, I'm a huge foodie, and there's certain things such as food that I cannot compromise on. So if it's a choice between 3 square meals a day plus dessert versus packaged ramen disguised as a meal, I'm gonna pick the first option. I have grown accustomed to having a full food pantry and a stocked refrigerator or two. I am not leaving until it's time. So on to a reason why you wouldn't want to stay in your parents' house is that your mental health will take a dive. And I'm a victim of this. My mental health fluctuates anyway, so it's nothing new. But I'm gonna show you guys this TikTok video, another TikTok video that really describes how your mental health like declines when you're living at your parents' house. And I'm not gonna show you the whole video because it's pretty long, but I'll just show you the parts that I'm going to be talking about and that I think are really important.
But at the same time, like, it just contributes to like so much of like a loss in identity and like a loss in independence. Like, someone is home all the time and I like don't have any privacy and I like don't have like any like spaces to myself. Not to mention, like, I don't see my fucking friends anymore. I feel so stupid for complaining about all of this because like people literally like are homeless and dying, and like I'm complaining about being in my parents' house.
So I want to emphasize the ending that this girl did, talking about like, you know, she doesn't feel like she has the right to really complain because not everyone has the privilege of living in their parents' house, and there's like, you know, bigger problems out there. But I know what she means. Like, it's hard, like, feeling like crap, but then you don't want to feel like crap because there are other, you know, pressing matters in the world. But then again, the most important matters are the ones that concern you. So some mental health issues you might have living in your parents' house is, you know, loss of self, identity, and loss of independence. So some people, like, you know, like to have friends over. They really like hanging out with their friends a lot. So when they're living in their parents' house, they might not have the option to invite them over because it's not their house. They're really like dependent on their parents' house rules and stuff. And also, like, it's hard just, you know, going through social media and seeing how other people are, you know, starting their independent lifestyle. And then it just sort of makes you feel like, you know, you're wasting your life away and you're just lame and you're just getting like, you're getting behind in life. And then also, like, with dating as well, you might not be able to have the best, you know, dating life because you might not be able to invite your boyfriend or girlfriend over to the house. So that's like completely valid. I understand that. But at the same time, you know your parents and you know their rules. So it's more of a like sort of have to deal with thing because you knew what you were getting into before you got to the house. Like, for like me, I know what my parents tolerate and don't tolerate. If this means I can't, you know, see my friends for a bit, fine. Like, the pros still outweigh the cons for me. I don't really have many friends around here anyways, so that's not really an issue, and I don't like inviting friends to my house. But moving on, and also some parents might try and still treat you like, you know, you're their child, which you are, but like, they treat you like a child. And like, as I said before, these are like completely valid. Like, of course that gets annoying, that gets draining, especially if you've lived on your own before and you're used to like only reporting to yourself when you get home. But yeah, like, if your mental health is like really fluctuating, like when you're living at home with your parents, you really just gotta look at like, is it worth like moving out or not? Because for me, especially, like my mental health is gonna fluctuate anyways, whether I live with my parents or not. Like me leaving the house isn't gonna really change anything. So another reason why you would want to live in your parents' house is that your mental health actually improves, and which is completely different from the previous one that I just mentioned where it declines. So your mental health can improve because, as I said before, if you have no basic needs to worry about attending to, then you have a lot more free time. So for example, if you're like trying to get your own apartment and you have to like, get these rent payments in, these bills paid, you're really focusing on working. There's not really time for you to sit down and enjoy yourself in your own apartment. There's a difference between being able to, I guess, live in an apartment or live in your own place versus actually enjoying living in your own place. Like, I feel like you should want more than just the base level. Like, you should want to enjoy being independent and stuff. So I just feel like living at home will give you more time to focus on yourself, learn more about yourself, because you're not really working too hard, depending on what type of job you have. And you have more free time to like explore new things and stuff. And you can just be gradual about going out into the world and stuff. Like, it's just more chill, a more relaxed type of routine going on until like you're really ready to step out there into the adult world. Okay, so the last one is actually another pro, and that would just really be strengthening your familial bonds. So for me, this is more of a personal thing. I didn't really see this as a pro whenever I scrolled through TikTok and seeing like other people also living in their parents' house. But I feel like spending more time with family, if you have the ability to, is really beneficial to you. And I just feel like it's really important to strengthen the bonds you have, because there's gonna be a day where you are going to move out and have your own life and you won't be able to see your family as much as you want to. And that's just life. So I just feel like if you have the opportunity to stay at your parents' house with no really negatives, like that's definitely a pro. So to conclude this discussion, I can honestly say that the luxuries outweigh the tortures, especially for my lifestyle. And I just believe the whole point of life is to make the best of what you have. And if you have like, awesome parents that are willing to let you stay at their house and there's like minor inconveniences, like live there. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't make things harder on yourself if you don't have to. And if I can push off that struggle into a time that I am actually comfortable and financially able to start my life off as a full-fledged adult, I'm going to wait and do what's necessary to get there appropriately. I'm not gonna rush out of my parents' house. So yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have an awesome day.